The fire is refining you, not destroying you. That's what I'm going to talk about with you today. And I want to give you a chance to connect with me. So I'm going to be looking at my screen, just above my screen, to see if you are going to connect. I'd like for this to be a dialogue, a two-way communication. We always get people from all around the globe joining live. And I'd like to give you an opportunity, if you happen to just click on the live, to be able to connect with me. It gives me a chance to answer questions. Many of you that have watched these live streams recently will notice that I'm embodying sacred silence. I'm allowing space between the words. What that does is it allows a transmission to take place. I'm not live streaming in the typical sense. I'm transmitting presence. You feel it. It's presence. It's just not noise. Very different from how the world works, isn't it? The world works by what? Noise. Everything from the mental chatter in our mind to the collective noise in the atmosphere. But what I want to draw you in this transmission is into not only the words I share, but the energy in which I cultivate and embody, which is presence, divine presence. It doesn't make me special. It makes me available, and you too can become available to presence, but you have to embody it. And what I'm going to be sharing in the live stream is 3 really important things about fire. Most of us know some will have fireplaces in their home. Perhaps you've got the new electric version. If you have a fireplace, you know that outside of the constraints of the fireplace, if the fire leaves the constraint of the fireplace, it jeopardizes your whole home. It can burn down your entire home. So fire has 2 purposes. It can heat or it can consume. Many of us have been walking through the fire and we feel like we're being consumed. But let me share this with you. You're not being consumed. You're being refined. Like a precious metal that under the certain conditions, the flame purifies, burns away the impurities. See, that's what's going on for many of us. We feel like we're being punished, but we're not being punished. We are being purified. Say that after me, would you? Purified. See, you haven't just caught this message by chance. You're hearing it because you've connected. Your spirit has guided you. What may seem coincidental is divinely orchestrated. You've entered into a divine flow and you're hearing this for a reason. Many people are feeling lost. feeling hopeless. They're feeling like giving up, and they feel like they've been abandoned. And this message is going to pierce through. It's not meant for everybody, but it's meant for those who are aligned and ready to hear. Those that have eyes to see and ears to hear. You haven't been abandoned. You're being prepared. What are you being prepared for? We're entering a season now. And you can see this, you can perceive it, where everything is changing. What is occurring on the planet is that the false is being consumed by the fire of truth. When people awaken, they ignite. And the flame is beginning to burn. And as the flame burns, it not only burns away the impurities in our own lives, it begins to pierce through the veil of illusion. And so the veil of illusion is what we're beginning to see, we're beginning to perceive beyond the veil of illusion. Who has pierced beyond the veil? Who has peeked behind it? And who sees beyond it? See, let me share a bit of a story with you. Over the last 5 weeks, I've gone through a pretty profound advancement of my own perception. And I'm able to see beyond the veil. I've seen the face behind the curtain. Remember the Wizard of Oz? The man behind the curtain? In this case, it's not some fraud with magical powers deceiving. No, that's the old system. The face of the divine, the face that I perceive, is quite the opposite. Many are interested in seeing beyond the veil. Very few have seen the face beyond the veil. And I've given a whole teaching on this that I want to guide you to. If you go to the top of the comment section, I can see it right there. Let me put this in that comment. I've released a whole teaching on fire and how you can activate and allow your fire to what? What does fire do with awakening? And it's point number 2. I'm going to look at my notes. You're not behind, you're being aligned. See, many of us believe that we're behind. We felt abandoned. We felt like the divine hasn't heard our cry. Let me tell you, there's not one cry, not one tear that has been lost. The divine is closer to you than your very breath. Closer than your breath. I wonder if anybody can name it here, because it has a name. Although names are great and they can serve as label, it is defined as I am that I am. Sure, we can call it by many things, many different labels. It has been called many different labels, but it's the same regardless of what we call it. Now, point number 3. Say that with me, point number 3. I'm feeling the energy. I'm feeling the fire burn. Because you know what? It's even burning as I'm sharing and taking the pauses between the words. I was told that the pauses, the silence between the words are just as piercing as the words themselves, because it isn't me broadcasting a live stream alone. And when I used to do these live streams, I used to talk really fast because I used to like to fill the gaps, because most people have a short attention span. They're used to flicking all the time. Not flickering like a flame, flickering with their finger. Because they lack embodiment. They're always searching and never finding. Who had that experience in their spiritual life? Who's been searching and never found? See, the whole system's set up like that. We're bombarded now with spiritual influences. Everywhere you look, there's someone with a different message. And really, what's going on behind that? Why are there so many voices and yet so little breakthrough? I've come to learn that there's a reason for that. There's a real reason for that. Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's little breakthrough? Why do you think there are really profound healings occurring? Because the divine wills it, and yet we look at reality and it's not aligned to the divine blueprint. So there's something more going on. And those that have eyes to see and ears to hear will know what is going on, because you see beyond the noise. You see beyond the spiritual fluff. You have a knowing in your spirit that perceives truth. Who has that knowing? Who's experienced that? I'm going to look at the screen. Let me know. And I know we've got a few of you on here now. Why don't you let me know where you are joining from? What city, what country, what part of the world you're joining me from? Let me know. I love hearing from you. And I know there's a slight delay. We're living in times that have been long foretold for thousands of years. Spoken about in the New Testament. John on the Isle of Patmos spoke about this specific time in history. From other wisdom traditions, all speak about this specific time. Being called by many different things, many different labels, all pointing to the same thing. Let me look at my screen because I can see a comment. I have Brother Missouri. Welcome from Missouri. Are you in St. Louis? Love to hear from you. What specific part of Missouri are you from? Now, John on the Isle of Patmos, when he wrote the book of Revelations, said, I see a new heaven and a new earth. Now, what was John pointing to? What was he referring to when he said, I saw a new heaven and a new earth? Now, to John, it was new. But let me give you a bit of a secret. It wasn't new. It was new to John's perception. It was new in John's eyes, but it wasn't a new heaven and earth. It was the real earth. So where did it go? Where are we? If this is not the real earth, what is it? Where are we? Can anybody answer in the comment section? Now, in a lot of spiritual teachings, we're told it's a new one, right? Who's heard of that concept? It's a new earth. Or we're waiting for some utopia to manifest. But what if I told you that it wasn't new at all? And that has been spoken about also for thousands of years by the ancient Gnostics. Back in 1945 in Nag Hammadi, scrolls were found that spoke about a overlay, a false reality, an illusion. And then back through scripture, we hear about the veil coming down. The veil. What does the veil mean? What does a veil literally mean? It means I've got a curtain here, a black curtain to block out my wall so that you can see a black background and I'm easily able to be seen. The veil conceals what is behind it. And this is what this reality is. It's concealing. Now, does anyone have any questions at this point? I know we'll probably have questions. All right, John, great name, John. John has said, is this one of my dreams? Can you elaborate on that, John? I want to hear from you. And if anyone has any other questions at this point, I want to answer some of your questions. I love to answer questions. I'm here to answer questions. That's why I do these live streams. Who has heard of this? Why do you feel like you're under attack? Let me tell you, the ones who carry presence walk through pressure. Chosen ones feel heat early. I'm talking about fire. This is the big misconception, not because they are off track, but because they're in alignment with refinement. And this, how do we stand in the fire? We often want to fight. We want to jump out of the fire. What's the first thing a frog does when it's being boiled? It jumps out. But we need to learn to stand in the fire, not fight the fire. We've got to learn to partner it. Let the flame do its work. What does the flame do? How does it work? It burns away all that doesn't serve you. It purifies you. You're not being burnt. You're not going through the flame because you're being punished. You're going through the flame to purify you, to refine you. Because there is a preciousness in you. There is a power in you. There is a presence in you that the world needs to see. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the divine has risen upon you, spoken in the book of Isaiah, in the Old Covenant, the Old Testament. It's time, and let these words be prophetic over your life. It's time for you to arise and shine, because your light, you are the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. It's time for you to fulfill what your soul incarnated for you to do. Now, this isn't for everybody. A lot of people will come across this and think it's nonsense. Or I think someone said at the beginning, am I teaching witchcraft? No, quite the opposite. I'm teaching truth. Not everybody likes truth. Sometimes truth offends. But it doesn't matter if it offends, because those that are meant to hear it will awaken to it. See, we're in a great time of separation and polarity. And there is something that is occurring that we're in the beginning stages of now, called the Great Separation. Spoken, given many different names, I call it the Great Separation. Spoken about in many wisdom traditions, spoken about in the New Testament in various places. And what is the Great Separation? It's when souls get to decide what they align to. Do they want to stay in a system that is in the process of self-destruction. You see, we often want to save the world. But the real earth doesn't need saving because the real earth is perfect. It's unaffected. It's untouched by the illusion. And this false earth construct, this false overlay, that is the part that is dying, not the real one. So you're not going to save the world, but many that are here right now are being called to help people make the choice. Do you want to keep aligning with the false? Do you want to give more of your power away? Do you want to be connected to a system that's set up to make you fail? I don't want that. And when I realized what my call was, and I saw beyond the veil, suddenly everything in my existence started to make sense. You know, I was conversing, I was communing last night, and I was going through some of the details down to the very specifics of when I was younger, and I could see the divine detail, the divine thread being woven through every event of my life, way beyond what my analytical mind could have ever have seen and interpreted. And I said, when I was communing, boy, you're so detailed in everything. That's why I say to you, you're never forsaken. Even every tear you've cried, every prayer you've prayed does not go unheard. Who feels that in their spirit? See, these words are not meant to teach you something new. These words are meant to remind you of what your spirit already knows. And the words simply awaken within you what has been forgotten and has laid dormant while you've been asleep in the illusion. It's time to wake up. It's time to not learn something new, not join some course or join an organization or anything like that. No, it's time to remember what is inside you, what is within you, that is ready for you now to remember. This is not a learning, it's a remembering. Say that after me, remember. And when these words go out, for some people, they're not going to make any sense and they would have flicked on now, or they'll say that word everyone says, doesn't resonate with me. It's fine. We're not meant to convert anybody. We're simply meant to awaken those that are ready to hear it. And forgive me for my camera going out there for a second. Now, let me read some of your messages. Kat, welcome to you. And Kat resonates with this. See, your spirit knows. When you see and perceive truth, how do we know it, right? What do we feel? Let me know in the comments, even if you're watching the replay. How do you know truth when you perceive it? How do you know? There are many different signs. For me, I get the chills in my body, particularly in my legs. I feel the chills, or in my back, or I feel the goosebumps throughout my whole body. There's an inner peace that comes. There's suddenly an aha moment, clarity, a sense of familiarity, a sense of, feels like home, because it is home. And what you're in right now, maybe when you grew up, you were like, this doesn't feel like home. There's something wrong with this reality. I don't feel like I belong. Little secret, you're not meant to fit in. You're not meant to belong, because it isn't home. it was described to me this way. This reality is like a mirror. I've got a mirror in the background there. And when you look into the mirror, you see your reflection backwards, a reflection into it the other way round. Now, this is exactly what this reality is. It's backwards. Haven't you sensed that? And this is another huge agenda that's been playing out for a long time. What is good is bad, and what is bad is good. You see it everywhere, from media to now slipping into the culture, because the system is ramping up. The system is beginning to go into a different phase. So it's coming for those that have eyes to see. Some will never see. They're not meant to. But those that have eyes to see it more clearly than ever. It's so obvious. Haven't you said that before? Maybe you have, John. Maybe you have, Kat. It's like it's so obvious, and yet some people are just blind to it. They think you're crazy. They think you're nuts. I've learned when people think you're crazy and nuts, you're right over the mark. Do you know that almost every prophet, every great spiritual leader, in the initial stages of them walking their aligned path, they were called crazy. They were rejected, including Jesus. Really ruffled a lot of feathers. See, if you're keeping everybody comfortable, you ain't over the mark. And the system is, particularly because I operate within the spiritual community, the system will never push voices like this that are piercing the veil, because it threatens the very structure itself. It wouldn't do that. So there are metrics in place, there are algorithms in place that will filter and suppress truth. But those voices that go out loud and proud and get to the masses, don't you have to question why that happens? See, I used to think it was about popularity or about appeasing algorithms. But if you want to pierce through the veil and you want to give people the truth unfiltered, you're going to be suppressed. I've learnt to discard any identity around it and not see it as rejection, but confirmation that I'm over the mark. What is it in your life that has suppressed you? Who has suppressed you? Often they are the closest people to us. Now, they don't do it always consciously because they're not conscious of it. But they keep us small. I know this speaking to people. So I'm taking pauses here. Come on, who's done with being small? Who's done with fitting in? Because you know what? It wasn't that great anyway. And it's time to arise and shine, for the light has come for those that are ready for it. If it doesn't align, if it doesn't feel right, move on at this point. I don't take offense to it, because I'm here to awaken those small remnant that are ready for this, that have waited for this. And these words are here to activate those sleeping people. It's time to awaken. It's time to arise. It's time to shine, because the light has come. Where is the light coming from? Is it coming from the external? No, it's coming from within you. You are the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. And you might say, if you have a religious background, yeah, but that's not my role. That's the divine, or that's God's. Yeah, but where do you think God exists in this reality? Not in a building or a temple or an institution. In you, in the hearts of people that's where. And so when you arise and when you shine, one of the big things that the system is going to do is it's going to try to stay with a backward system. I didn't. I kept my flame pure. I walked the narrow road. I accepted the rejection and now see it as a blessing because I was being protected from all of the distortion that exists. What is it in your life that is stopping you? I want to read this to you. The fire isn't just for you, it's for others too. See, it's not just about you and me. It's so much bigger than that. It's about why we're here. We didn't come into this system, this illusion, for any other reason, really. To help. And those, I'm speaking to the remnant. I'm speaking to the 144,000, if any of them are listening, or the 1,200,000, or the overall remnant. I'm talking to you. Most people, no, aren't a part of that group. Not because the remnant are better, but we have a specific purpose. Now let me read some of your comments. We can move, Kat has said, we can move mountains with light of unconditional love within. Yes, see that love, that vibration, that presence, it becomes tangible. Even in my words, you feel them piercing away the illusions in your own life. You know, I was told by the Spirit of Truth that the Spirit of Truth would use my words and my voice and pierce through and reach those that are meant to hear it. Often when I get these messages, I don't know if they well surpass my own understanding. And I think, shouldn't I share that message, or wouldn't that sit better with people? I don't want to offend maybe. And I get told, no, you just share the message anyway because you're meant to. I'm creating this live stream today for one real specific reason. It is a calling for those that feel it here. You'll know it here. That if this message on the fire resonates with you, there is a link at the top of the comments to a teaching that I just released. Now, you can do this two ways. I was told to set it up this way. Do not make it free, because if people don't place value or their energy on it, they're not going to value it. So I've given an option. You can pay anything from 1 cent, couldn't go lower than 1 cent, up to $44, and you get the teaching. But you've got to give something, because you've got to sow the seed in order to get the harvest on it. Now, in it is an activation. The words are going to activate you. The words are going to ignite you. It's not for everybody. So if it's not resonating, don't bother. But if it is resonating, and you might have a seed of a cent or maybe $44, it doesn't matter to me. What matters is the connection. But you've got to sow into a seed. See, the problem is, the challenge is rather, there are so many voices out there, and we're flicking and scrolling. We don't give our attention to anything. And there's a spirit of confusion over everything now. This is why I stopped reading the news. This is why I stopped watching all the reels and the videos that pop up on my feed. It is paralysis by analysis. It is getting so mentally bogged down, and people are feeling the weight and pressure. And it's all by design, by the way, to keep people stuck, to keep people from igniting, to keep people from knowing truth. See, the system just wants to keep you busy and distract you. It used to do it through entertainment, but entertainment is falling. And so then it used social media, and then even now, people want to disconnect from it. So then it ramps up and it gets louder and louder and louder. I've come to discover, to hear the voice of God. You have to welcome silence. Because that still, small voice that communicates spirit to spirit, the spirit of truth to your spirit. And then how do you hear the words? Well, your mind interprets what is in your spirit, and the thoughts come, the clarity comes. But you don't hear it with a busy analytical mind. You don't hear it with a huge amount of mental noise and scrolling and listening to 100 different voices at the same time and not really giving your attention. You're not going to hear anything. And that is why I created this fire teaching, not to sell a product. Because I tell you what, not a very good business model if that was the point for selling it for 1 cent or even $44 at the maximum. No, not the time that went into it. It's not meant to. It's a seed. It's a seed that for those that are ready to awaken and to activate, because now is the time. The time is shorter than it's ever been. I'm going to leave you with this. If this resonates, it's time to arise and shine. The hour is short. If it resonates, you will find at the top of the comments right there a link for the fire teaching. You just click on it. If you want to give 1 cent, if you want to give $44, it's up to you. I'm going to do another live stream sometime this week. I don't know when, but it will be this week here on YouTube. If you've got questions, you can email me. You can find my email in my links here on YouTube. If you don't subscribe to this channel, maybe you've stumbled across it and these messages are resonating with you, subscribe, put on the notification bell. That way you will get notified. My content is heavily suppressed. It's not suggested because of what I share. That's the way the system works. That's okay. I've learned to work around it. And I'm not meant to speak to the masses. I'm meant to speak to the remnant, those that are ready, those that feel the call, those who feel the weight of these words. Their spirit recognizes the truth of these words. I hope some of you connect with the fire teaching, but if you don't, you'll hear me next time I communicate here on YouTube.